What is going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. This is the first upload, so this is sort of a welcome to see what this channel is all about. We want to sort of give some expectations of the build as we try and follow it, and basically what we're going to cover on this channel. So here is my 2003 Toyota Sequoia. This was my first car, and basically it was nothing like this when I bought it. It was completely stock. It had 150,000 miles on it, and I just did some cosmetic upgrades first, and then sort of wanted more power, so we went in to do some more power. I started off with an eBay turbo kit, and that worked really well for the first about 6 months or so, and then I noticed that the oil pressure was dropping. Could be caused by the turbo heating up the oil so much that the oil pressure dropped, and basically we lost our first turbo. But it was just a cheap eBay one, so I'm not too concerned about it. Then I fitted I don't know if you can see this under here. I fitted a oil cooler onto it, and that helped out dramatically. Along with, I bought a CX Racing Turbo T4, and it's water cooled. And I definitely wanted to make sure I wanted a water cooled turbo to keep those oil temps down and just extend its life. This is a dual ceramic ball bearing one. It spools great. It's really great on the build. We'll do some ride-alongs here pretty quick. This is completely stock. Nothing done to it except for the later intake manifold, the plastic one, with the actuator on the back of it. I don't know if you can see that here. It's got an actuator on the back. Basically turns it into a short runner intake from a long runner intake. Give you a little more power up top. But yeah, some troubles that I've been having with it when I first got the kit was getting the engine management, because there's not a whole lot of people doing this out there, and so engine management is something that super crucial in order to make good power, and there's not a whole lot of options out there. So I started off with a Unichip. That seemed to be the most popular option for people. But unfortunately, it didn't really work too well for this setup. Mainly, I think it was due to when I put the bigger fuel pump into the rear. It was a Walbro 255. I think I might have pinched one of the lines, putting the tank back up, and so I wasn't getting full fuel flow. So when I put a AEM 440 in it, then I saw the pinch line, and so that's what I mainly contribute to the Unichip not really working. Just didn't give very good control. I also noticed that the computer in these are very, very smart. They can know when you're tricking them. I don't know how it does it, but it knows when you're tricking them. And so I wound up switching to a Mega Squirt. My brother, he's had one on his Ranger, which I'll show in an upcoming episode. And he has a Turbo Ranger, and it's a plug-and-play unit that he got, a Mega Squirt 2, and he's loved that thing. Works really well, very inexpensive, so I went with a Mega Squirt 3. This does everything that I need it to do and more. Basically, there's probably like a rat's nest up here, but he tapped into the signals on the computer and basically took over control for everything engine related. I have a Innovate air fuel ratio gauge and just a cheap Chinese boost gauge. Here's the Innovate gauge. I don't really recommend the Innovate gauge. It is less expensive than the AEM, but it's just, I don't know, it seems to go through oxygen sensors, because it likes to start up really slowly, and it doesn't really, it's kind of dumb, a dumb sensor. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but it's kind of like a dumb sensor. But I just have that wired into this oxygen, wideband oxygen sensor right back here, and I have a cooler on that oxygen sensor because since it's right near the turbo, it's pretty close. I was having issues with the oxygen sensor getting too hot on the dyno, which, yes, I did dyno this vehicle. I will send the clip right now. All right, and basically it made just about 300 wheel with these tires, which they're pretty meaty, and that was before I did the intake upgrade to the larger runner plastic intake with the solenoid, which I do definitely can feel a difference in that when I switch that over. I also it used to have mufflers on it. So there was a single Flowmaster that it went through, and pretty quickly I noticed that was causing a lot of back pressure in the system, particularly when he was tuning for boost pressure. He had to raise the wastegate in order to maintain boost pressure, so that kind of saw that we had a lot of back pressure. Specs on this turbo. We have a 0.7 AR for the front and 0.82 AR for the rear. It spools really nicely. Like I said, we'll take you for a drive here and maybe a next episode. But yeah, this is basically a walk around everything I've done. There is one more thing. Because this is an automatic transmission, whenever we went to the dyno to begin with, it kept downshifting, and there wasn't really anything that you could do to prevent that if you wanted to be in third gear. So I wound up buying this. Excuse those. Wound up buying this from I forget where it's from. I'll link it in the description. But it's a very high quality unit, all aluminum. Feels really good. It's called like the Baja one, but it's for this transmission. Really easy to wire it up, and I just have switches here to take over whenever I need to take over to do the manual. I really only do the manual when I'm on the dyno. That's the only time you really need it. When I go and build this motor eventually, then I'll probably use the manual a lot, or I'll switch over to a dedicated trans control unit. So that brings us to why I'm making this video now instead of later in the future or anything. Right now, we went out racing with this. We do some sand drag racing every now and again. And we went out racing, and it was fabulous. First time racing with the tune setup, and it was great, really great. Now I do have a shift kit in this, and it is really aggressive and it really punches. But when I was doing lap after lap, going down the drag and tuning it and just getting everything dialed in, I did notice the second gear was slipping. That is the weak gear in these transmissions. This has the stock A340 in it, so same one, similar one to the Supra. So there's a lot of options out there for built transmissions, which I am going to do. But yeah, second gear started to slip, and I was in a bracket race, and you know, I didn't want to lose my money, but it was already slipping, and so I figured, well, what the heck, I'll just burn it out. I did manage to place third. If I would have, I lost second gear the first, about the first run. I lost second gear, so I only have first gear. So it was kind of topping the rev limit out when I was at the end of the strip. It's a little less than an 1/8 mile of a sand drag. You don't want to be going that fast in essentially stock vehicles. They do have professionals there, but I'm just in the stock class basically. But it did take down a Duramax. I just want everybody to know that there was a tuned Duramax there, and it did take down the Duramax. I got him on the launch and just pulled all the way to the end. That was when I still had my second gear. So that again brings us why I'm filming now. We lost second gear. This now has about 180,000 miles on this engine, and you know it's tired. It's a tired engine. I know these engines can go well into 400, 500,000 miles if completely stock. But I believe when I first installed the Mega Squirt, I had some settings wrong, and I believe I cracked a ring land. We're gonna go and actually take down this engine, tear it all the way down when I go and build up a different engine to see what failed on it to begin with. But yeah, I believe I cracked a ring land because there's a lot of excess blow by, and there's just a lot of white smoke coming out on startup. Now, it does get better with temperature, so I don't know if that has something to do with it, but basically we're going to be doing a full built engine in this. Shooting everything internally should be able to withstand 1,000 horsepower, no problem. Going built transmission. Still have yet to decide which vendor I want to go from, but everything in this should be pretty bulletproof. After the dyno session, we went out for a drive, and because of the aggressive shift kit that I had on it, I actually broke the ring gear in the rear. So that may be an issue when we step up in power. Hopefully I won't have too aggressive of a shift kit in it because it'll be more built transmission. The shift kit's kind of like a band-aid for these. But yeah, I'll put some pictures of those right here of the broken ring gear. And I think that'll wrap up this episode. If you have any comments, please leave them below. And basically, I'll link all of the my forum on Sequoia forums. I'll link that. You can see what I've all got in this build, and if you want to duplicate it yourself, some tips and tricks on how to do that. And see you next time. Actually, we can't leave off on that. We gotta have a rev. Everybody knows that. Anyway, thank you again for watching this video. I'll link the next video up when I get it up. But let me know what you think of this episode. Let me know what you think of the build in the comments down below. Thank you. See you next time.